All of this was in McKean County, near here in Bradford. It was really close by, yeah.
Like up by Kenzu Bridge?
Yeah, Kenzu Bridge and Allegheny, even up in the Allegheny State Park, and also out South Kendall, South Kendall, out that way.
Wow.
So a lot of this, and we were actually with other Bigfoot organizations in Pennsylvania going on one, and you know, we got a rock thrown at us, and we kept the rock. I mean, that rock came flying, hit a tree, came down, and he's like, oh, here's the rock, and I'm like, I'm keeping that.
Yeah. Wow.
This was our, we went on our first expedition, and this was really near, this was near Bradford, really close by.
Is there many people that do that around Bradford?
We're looking for people
Oh,
that would want to do, you know, come with us and stuff, because I mean, the places where we go and the things that we do is just amazing. And all you got to do is just go out in the woods looking, you know, and not really hunting or anything. You just go out and do I always say, you know, go out there and try it yourself. See what you come out with, even though you think it's a little weird. Try it, and you know, do a tree knock and whoa, and see what you get back. You'll be surprised. A lot of times, though, what we've had 58 expeditions we've been on, and what we're finding out is these things are very curious, and they stay away. They have a cushion. There's a cushion, and they stay away because they don't want to be noticed. Of course, you know. So they just stay away, and they make a barrier around you, and they'll come in and sneak in on you when you're making noise or walking.
yeah.
That's when they do it. But if you're standing there looking around,
They're not going to move. Yeah, that makes sense.
it's really interesting. And we are finding out also that they utilize infrasound. I don't know if you have any idea.
What's an infrasound?
Infrasound is sounds that are made from common animals, like whales. Whales and different animals, and they use it for communication, plus stunning. They stun their prey. We got zapped, it's called zapped, by infrasound at Kenzu Bridge, and we had to get out of there because we started getting disoriented and everything. And
really?
Yeah, it actually messed around, and I believe that they have a way to somehow store energy of some sort, and they can focus it somehow. I don't know how they could do it, but that's how they stay under the gun.
Sure.
You know, they're very, very, very smart. That's what we're finding out. They're very curious and very intelligent. And we enjoy it a lot. I mean, we've been doing it right now we've been doing about 6 years now.
Yeah.
But I've had my own sighting. I've had my own sighting out playing paintballs with ghillie suits on.
Oh, wow.
And this thing came down off the hill, right out. I couldn't believe. I was like, "You gotta believe me! What in the heck am I seeing?" I didn't believe in anything like that.
Right.
And then it just, you know, my interest just. It's been fun. And we're gonna do this every year. Last year we did it here, and then the more stuff we get, and we have other organizations through Pennsylvania that are coming up here and demonstrating their stuff too. So this is pretty cool. This is our second year.
That is cool.
Yeah, we could what we could do is either
I appreciate you coming, and you feel free. We have apple cider, donuts, coffee. If you want anything, it's all free. Except the jams back there. Those are homemade jams.
Because that might be kind of cool to really include that, you know. And your first encounter was like 11 years ago. I'm sorry, our interview was so many times. And I think people really get into like the technique of how you get these casts.
Master caster.
That's kind of stuck, yeah.
Hey, cat in the hat and master caster. Well, and that's kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Yep.
5 more minutes. So how we're gonna do this, okay, is that I have a presentation.
our group will probably take about an hour.
Yeah.
And then we have that last hour of kind of back and forth.
Yeah, exactly.
And that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year it just lagged. I was like,
Yeah.
it was our first year. No.
Yeah, so I think you'll find this will go a lot smoother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that gives us a chance to watch each other's stuff too. Oh, there you go, so they're kind of up and you can get.
That'll be nice, that blue background.
Yeah, that'll be perfect, and give people an idea of what we're all here. That's fantastic. I like that. I can use it all. They'll tell them how to do that, but by the atmosphere that we have. It might end up just being us. So, you might just watch some good of me. You never know.
See, that's that lip. That's that lip that my buddy was. My buddy's that's a 5-toe, and I was looking at it. I was like, oh, that's just casting material. But it looked like
It looked like it was a 6-toe.
Yes, in picture.
Yes. I've seen that actually, because I had somebody comment about that with the video.
somebody
Is
wants
that a
to say
6-toe?
you're cut.
I don't think so, I think that's the edging.
That's some really cool stuff, man.
I really like
That did you pump though?
Actually, I was gonna bring the nuts.
He likes my.
Yeah, I remember.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Really good.
I have done up there now, so.
And considering we had to put everything in my truck, it actually worked out to be the
I
perfect
got this
amount of
one.
stuff
I
to
know.
ready.
Bring everything in.
Yeah, yeah. That was what I was trying to capture in that video, you know, when we were doing outside on any drawing. Should we hit a couple?
Well, I got all the drugs.
I think that it's pretty explanatory.
I got all the.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
And I just made a whole new.
Nice job too.
Your son likes to pump it.
Oh, yeah.
So love
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a lot like,
Yeah, I know.
can't remember who brought it in. Somebody came in.
All right, let's see who else is here.
They had that.
Hello, how you doing?
With the ball on it, with the hair that was all wrapped into it and everything.
All right, hi everybody. Getting ready to
Well, pretty much just like that.
get excited.
It was like a round stick. It was like a ball in the middle of it.
Yes, sir. I'll drive out.
No. Looks like there was a new couple, but I never got it. That you like the water.
Yeah.
You guys Bigfooters or just kind of curious? Nice.
I'm just getting into what we talked about.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Might get off the trail and take a break and go down
Were you there that night?
Yeah, that's gonna be our next,
Yeah. Yeah, to try to kind of talk yourself into it. Now it's starting to sound like a conspiracy theory. In other words, it's hard to believe. Because, you know, and sometimes you're getting sad. Right. You can't give me an explanation. Did you put that on your personal page or? Yeah. We have a very robust group on Facebook called CRYPTOVANIA. And then we also have a Roku channel. We have a channel that's got like 500 videos. And the first hour, Jason Colley of the Bradford research. Okay. He's gonna have the first hour, and then I'm gonna introduce, what our channel is about. And I brought these two guys are a big part of our stuff. And then we'll have a bunch of back and forth and stuff, but you should find this online, and it's, our group, we include everything from Bigfoot to other paranormals like UFOs to even like mushroom hunting and stuff. Anything that has to do with like outdoor adventure or just doing stuff. That's what I Yeah, yeah. You know, for us it's all kind of related, you know, that kind of the rural life stuff, you know, and we've even got a couple things on there like from sawmills. You know, our friends have sawmills, so showing a little bit of maple syrup making, and then we've got a library that we've started called the CRYPTOVANIA Archives, and what that is a bunch of the groups that we've befriended, like Jason. We have a bunch of his episodes, and then we have another guy named Greg Yost, Bradford, his episodes, the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Project, we have a bunch of their episodes. So you can kind of go on there and get an introduction to the who's who of the paranormal world, and that's kind of what we're shooting. Yeah, and then we have our own original content that we do. Because basically, the group of us all kind of rotate around a tire shop in Tennessee. And the group of us that work together there, there's 4 of us, we're all into Bigfoot, and we decided that we're going to create this group and this channel. And so we all work together, you know, and everything kind of centers around built off of that. And it's kind of fun, you know. And it's kind of like going whitetail deer hunt. It's the same thing. And then with the equipment too, like there's like clear night vision and stuff. And it used to be that you would kind of scrimp and save for like for a new cool hunting rifle. I want to get that WD 308 or something. And now people are scrolling and saving to get some of this like night vision stuff. You know? It is. It is. We have a nice Bushnell store. We're gonna go. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Excellent. All right. Thanks, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for everybody coming. We are Jason Colley, Devin Baker, and Lucas Moore, and we are Bradford, PA Bigfoot Research Group here out of Bradford. And the first thing I would like to say is we have coffee, donuts, and apple cider and water over there for free during the whole thing. You can go over and help yourself. And we got some treats, and we got treats for kids as well over there. Okay, so I'm just going through this. So we started this organization. I'm just going to run into this organization and what we do. What we do is we try to prove the existence of Bigfoot in McKean County, Potter County, Warren County, and upstate New York. And we have these little areas that we prove the existence of it. Now, it all started with me back in 2005. Me and my buddies were playing paintballs, and we got down into an area to shoot these targets to get ready for an upcoming more of a aggressive game. And we were just getting ready to take the shot, and this big thing comes down off the hill, upright, comes down off the hill and walks out in front of us about 40 yards out. And I immediately jumped up. I'm like, what have I seen? I'm like, dude, did you see that? And my one buddy's like sitting there, and he's laying down, and he's like, what would you see? It was like about 4 seconds I seen it. And he's like, well, it's moving over here. Do you hear it? And I'm like, oh my, it's moving on our flank. It's circling us. So we jump up, and I'm like, we got to get out of here right now. I mean, the biggest thing that really struck me is its legs. I mean, they look like garbage cans, the metal garbage cans. It was so enormously huge. And it was, I would say, if you could turn around, almost the top of that up there. It was almost that big. And I could not believe what I was seeing. I just could not believe it. And my one cousin's like, well, we ain't going this way. And I'm like, you dang right we ain't going that way. I'll go that way, you know. So we went further into the woods, unfortunately. And I was waiting there, just waiting for it to shoot with paintballs. It never came towards us, you know. It was gone. So then we left, and that was that story. Now it didn't end. In that spot, I've hunted in that area. I've hunted in there so many times, and all of a sudden I would hear rocks getting thrown towards us. And during hunting season, I'm like, who the heck is throwing rocks at us, you know? And all of this other stuff, and then I seen like blobs of fur going through just like a ghost going right through the thickets without even hardly making a sound. And then I'm like, man, this place is something else. And it just continued. We started getting trees or branches thrown at us and stuff throughout all the years, from 2005 all the way. And it was like specifically. It was specific. At the end, when deer season comes in, there's nothing there. It's whatever's there is gone. It's gone. But like small game archery and stuff like that, there is something there. It is there. And it's just the energy level drew me to build this to build this team up. Not only that, I mean, so many people talk about finding Bigfoot, they're not real, all this stuff. Well, I mean, some of their stuff is really legit. And they do a good job, even though it's a show. But they did a good job. And I learned so much off of them, and I actually did it myself. I'm like, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna try this stuff, see what what I get. So I go and I try it, and we start getting stuff. So I got a hold of Lucas, and I said, hey man, let's go on a Bigfoot excursion. Let's just go do it. Let's go see what's out there. So him and I went to Droney. We went to Droney Road in Lewis Run, VA. And holy, we started getting whoops, like a gorilla. Like a big, now I know that barred owls sound like monkeys. They really, barred owls, they sound like a monkey in the wood, but this was different. This was something powerful, and you could feel it on your chest. You could feel it on your chest, like it was using a lot of strength. Remember that? And then we heard some other kind of like banging. It was throwing rocks at the guardrail.
And there was this one time when we went up to the tracks, like, did you hear that? He's like, I didn't hear anything. Like, are you sure? I heard it a couple times. And then he looked back during the video, because he had the video playing on his little recorder, and you could hear the sound when he turned the sound on.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you did hear something.
Yeah, and to this day, we had Pennsylvania Bigfoot Project literally went out there by themselves. I warned them not to do that. They went out there by themselves at the railroad tracks. They had, the one lady said that they had a juvenile Sasquatch crawl underneath the vehicle and then take off when they went back to the vehicle. And then they got blood charged off the hill. Thought it was a bear, but this was upright, and it came right down off the hill. And those hills, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Droney, but the Droney curve is very steep. Like the banks are very steep, and it came down off of that. And physically, we've tried to go up those banks, and there was no way. You slide right back down. There's this vertical, and that's where they said, man, what a great experience here in Bradford that they had. And they're from, I think, all the way from, where are they from, Jason?
I think down by Pittsburgh.
Yeah, from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, because I know it was like a 2-hour trip.
But they came up to see what kind of activity that we have in McKean County. And they were really, really awestruck about it. And I contacted these individuals from down in Titusville, CRYPTOVANIA. these guys have been great, you know, coming out and doing expeditions here in McKean County as well, and they've experienced some interesting stuff. So anyways, that's when we first started. Him and I, we just went out our first one, and then it's been just, and you know, every week, every other week, we just keep going. We've been going since 2017. We go all over the place. Kenzu Bridge is just amazing. So many people have mocked John Stoneman for his for the pictures that he had in 2013, saying it was a root ball. Well, maybe it was, but we went up to investigate in the same area, and we got a lot of activity. Him and I went up there, when was it, last year, and we put these little these reflecting tapes so we don't get lost, so we go back into the woods. And we were following a deer trail, and it was during the winter. It was just a dusting of snow, or was that the year before? But this was our first session up there at Kenzu Bridge. And then, what's it? Yeah. Yeah, and all of my reflectors were ripped off the trees.
So I'm like, spar footprints.
And then it was following our footprints all the way to my car. And then it went past my car and across the road. And I couldn't believe there were footprints. Like, who in the world would be? It gets cold up there on the top of that hill during the winter. And I'm like, who the heck would be, you know, like that? And then I'm like, all right, we're going to stay by the car just in case we got to get out of here. And then he did an owl sound, and then we got, like, right, left, all the way around, whistles and knocks, and I'm getting chills just thinking about it. It was intense. It was, and who would be up there at 11 o'clock, you know, during the winter? I mean, it was cold. And these are experiences that we've had. We've built up a lot of, you know, even witnesses. We've talked to so many people about their sightings and Bigfoot crossing the road. I never was a believer once before, but now I'm a believer. And, you know, I've talked to state police officers, I've talked to the sheriff's office, I talked to game wardens, and they all say that they have so many stories that they can't even tell me all of them. And these are really, it's really interesting. It's an interesting subject. So we continue to do our best to, you know, go around and check these areas out. And, you know, normally we just take a little gander down the road, and we just like, oh, this is a good spot. And we go in there, and we either get activity or we don't. And we're always open for the public to contact us. I have contact information. I have information over here, you know, if you have a sighting or whatnot. We also have we have a Facebook. We have our own YouTube channel with all our videos, and it's a pretty fun ride so far. I thought I was gonna be like, I don't really want to do it anymore. And then it's like, well, you don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Last year, this is another story. Last year, the Allegheny State Park went up to the summit. On the way back, it was around 11:30 at night, and we were come back to Bradford up around the turn. Goes up around the turn. We hit that turn, came around. There was 4 deer, or was it 3, in the middle of the road, and they would not leave out of the road. I'm looking at them, and then I'm like, Devin. I look over to him, and he's looking like, and I look at what he's looking at, and the deer are looking at what they're all looking at the same thing. And there was a white Bigfoot standing there with black arms, and it must have been about this high, right? And that's what we thought it was, that high, until we actually had Pennsylvania Bigfoot Project come up and explain us a little bit more of what happened there. And it was kind of interesting what they say, but I'm going to tell you. So we seen it, locked eyes, and I'm like, oh, and then seen it, and then it had like emerald eyes. The eyes were like emerald, like colors, or like a yellowish emerald. Yeah, and in like one step, man, gone. It was just, and I don't know what was happening in that. I don't know if it was hunting. I mean, Mary Fabian from Pennsylvania Bigfoot Project said it was hunting the deer that were there, and we found the deer trail cutting across, and it was going. The deer trail was going exactly where the Bigfoot was standing, and then where the Bigfoot was standing was a ditch right there on the side. So it looked this high, but the ditch, I mean, it must have been ginormous. So it just looked that way. And it was that was last year. That was last year on the way. That was the end of August. The end of August. And that was the same time that I seen Bigfoot in 2005, was the end of August as well. And it was just, that was one of our best times.
And you know how there's a lot of these people who are like commenting and whatnot, just saying, well, I go out in the woods and I don't hear or see anything. A lot of the times you can just be spending time in the woods and you hear or see something. Like for example, we used to play like airsoft at night and everything.
Oh yeah.
And there was one time where we're just trying to figure out who's throwing rocks at us and whatnot. This is like a little bit after we started this whole thing. And so we were just out there with the team, with our airsoft guns, doing a little bit of training. Me and him split off from the rest of the team that was by the fire. Just sat on the bank of the hill. And he thought, oh, I'll just do the Ohio how. Sitting there, nothing after he did it. And something started charging at us.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he was fumbling with his one camera trying to switch out SD cards.
Oh, that was
So
scary.
he's just sitting there messing
I'm
with
sitting
it.
on the ground.
And I hear something running at us, so I flipped on my light real quick to try to see what it is, try to catch it. And there was something standing upright
It was
in the ground.
upright.
It was charging us, but as soon as I turned on the light, it turned around and ran the other way.
Yeah, it went right by the creek, right down. And that was out South Kendall. That was
You don't
really
have to
close.
be actually out there to be actually looking for it. Just spend a little bit of time in the woods. You
Mhm.
might hear something or see something. A lot of times when you're actually looking for something, you won't find it. Sometimes you might inadvertently run into something.
Mhm. Exactly. Okay, so I'm just going through this, sorry. So we've done 58 expeditions, and everyone has a certain detail for it, but like he was saying, just go out in the woods, and it gets to the point where we're just like having fun. That's the biggest thing, is having fun. And during the winter, people would think we're nuts. We had a pizza in the back of the trunk. We had the trunk popped open, and we're eating pizza. I mean, it is freezing cold, and we're standing there eating pizza. This hiker comes down through there like, oh, can I have a piece of it? And I'm like, it's frozen. And it's just those little weird things that we, accumulate of enjoying doing what we're doing. And that's one of the main things. We take it serious. So many other people, it's a big joke, and I always tell people, it's a joke until you see one. It's a joke until you see one, and it changes your life. I should turn into a Bigfoot counselor, because I've had people from Texas, Colorado, California, all over the place call me and tell me about their experiences. And is there anything that I can give them? Any kind of advice or anything? My wife's gonna leave me. My husband left me. These are true stories of people are. I mean, breaking up marriages, breaking up really, and it's just weird on how that is. But these people are really sincere about it. Can you tell me? Can you give me advice? Can you help me? And the only thing that I can say is these things are real. I mean, they're just so intelligent, and they just stay away. I mean, they cushion themselves. I'm going to call it a cushion. They cushion themselves from human activity. Every once in a while, they got to get across that road, or they got to go up that trail, or they got to go across the right-of-ways or clearings, and then that's where you get your glimpse. I've talked to a hunter up in his tree stand, and he was hunting the power lines, and he was over watching it, and then he sees something. He like walked down off his tree stand and went home and went to sleep and said that I gotta get more sleep because he thought that he was just seeing something, you know. And the stories go on. There is also a few stories in Crosby, PA, over Smithport area, Pennsylvania, that people were hunting up in the tree stand and heard a horrible sound over there. So him and I, we went over there to verify that. And we went down by the creek and tell them the rest of it.
Well, it got like real late. We went to like this new bridge that's been put in and replaced, and didn't hear anything for a while. So I just decided just to take a rock, skip across the road, and it hit the guardrail on the bridge. A few minutes later, someone threw a rock right at the bridge. So I threw a rock again. A few minutes later, something else threw a rock at the bridge. Did it back and forth for a while, then we didn't hear anything anymore. Well, okay. So we went over to a field that was a little bit away, and he did a howl, heard something back, and we didn't hear anything. And a little bit later, we heard something splashing through the creek, right from the bridge out
It
through.
was walking up the creek, yeah. So we ran up to see what it was, and you could see where it splashed the sides, and then the rocks. Then we were just at the car. These rocks were getting thrown. He would throw a rock, then a rock would get another. It would just be like a game back and forth, and it was so interesting. It was so really cool of how that interaction was coming. It wasn't really threatening. It was just a rock being thrown. Now here's the thing. Truly, if you would ask, is Bigfoot threatening? You know, does it harm people? Well, believe it or not, if a 1,000-pound creature like that was really mean, I don't think we would be here. I really don't. So I think it's more curious, and it has more utilization of a primate type of characteristics. I don't believe that it's an alien. There's a possibility it's up in the air. I don't believe in that. I believe that it is a cross mutation between a Gigantopithecus and some type of a primate from human kind of somehow. There's some kind of a twist that has happened. Why haven't anybody bagged it? Why haven't the news brought it out? Because of hoaxers. There is so many hoaxers that distort the truth. And when they distort the truth, they can't bring it out because nobody will believe. You know, it's like a big joke, you know, and it just keeps going around. It just keeps going around. And I always picture this. Bigfoot sitting on, lawn chair, his feet are up, drinking a beer, and reading the paper of, oh, they found Bigfoot again, and they found him again, and he's just sitting there for real, just relaxing because he knows it's never gonna come out because of that reason. And science still is hard-headed, and science is going to be science, but there is still a cryptozoology that are all about species that are unidentified, but are can be identified in the future if they would actually go along with it. But I got an article here, really quick, about Sasquatch, and this is from Canada, actually, from the western coast of British Columbia. And what's Sasquatch? Okay, according to this, Sasquatch is said to be a large ape-like creature that lives primarily in the forests stretching from the west coast of British Columbia to northern California, and to a lesser extent throughout North America. Sasquatch is a cryptid, a creature whose existence is suggested, but has not yet been confirmed by the scientific community. Like the Yeti of Asia or the abdominal snowman of the Himalayas, Sasquatch is rooted in indigenous legend and is commonly researched by cryptozoologist and enthusiast. Some believe Sasquatch is a nearly extinct species of hominid that survives in isolation, while others consider the creature to be a product of folklore and hoaxes. Now the origin comes from, you can actually go to that, I think it's the next picture there, yeah, right here. The word Sasquatch derived from, I can't really say that, is Sasquatch, is what the first name was. And there was the Indian tribe that, over in British Columbia. Sasquatch, okay, okay, the Salish word Sasquatch, meaning wild man or hairy man. J.W. Burns coined the term in 1930s. Burns was an Indian agent assigned to the Chasselas band, now known as the St. Alice First Nation. St. Alice people claim a close bond, the Sasquatch, and believe it has the ability to move between the physical and spiritual realm. Sasquatch has also commonly known as Bigfoot in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. Now I'm going to tell you one thing about the spiritual stuff. I truly believe that there is a connection between the spiritual formation and Bigfoot. And the reason why is because Bigfoot has such of a open meaner of sensitivities, I believe. So the spirit realm has a sensitivity of it connecting with that. But actually, formation of it, I don't really truly believe that. But I almost like, you got your mediums, people that could, like contact the dead or whatever. Something almost like that connection between like that. But truthfully, deeply, I don't really think of actually, oh, whoa, there's a Bigfoot, just for a formation of spirit, what I'm trying to say. It's more of a solid, for sure. Okay, so right now, I'm going to show you some of our pictures and what we have gone on. Our next one is our video of our intro. Our intro is on our YouTube channel. If you go into our YouTube channel, you will see this at the beginning of our movies. Now this is just a glimpse. This is our intro for all of our movies. Now as you can see, all those people that were there in the intro have went on our expeditions. So whoever would go on our expeditions, as long as you would want to be, you could be on our intro for our videos and on YouTube. That's just to try to promote a little bit about us and stuff like that. Okay, so this is Pennsylvania Bigfoot Project that we went with this year, and these guys are really cool. It's a big team down by Pittsburgh, and we worked with them this year. We actually had them come up to verify some of my cast over here to see if they were legit or if they were just a hoax, and there is definitely a legitimate to them. It is. Okay, go to the next one. And this is CRYPTOVANIA. These guys right there, Jason TROST, and these guys are awesome. And then we have a couple other individuals here. Say your name, guys.
Tom Keys.
And down SLOVEY. These guys are all working together with CRYPTOVANIA, and we also help out with coming up with stuff for them as well. And we have a really fun time doing it, for sure. Okay, next one. Okay, so these are some of the pictures that we get. Now you all understand that there's weather. Okay, there's weather, and there's things that happen with the weather and it causes trees to fall and all this stuff. It's natural, okay, everything is natural. But when you got a tree here, and then that threaded, this big one is threaded into the other ones. Now, is it possible that nature could do that? Yeah, I mean, it is the weather. It is a good possibility it could thread it in there somehow. But this whole tree was pulled down, and you can tell because of the force over here and bowing down. So it's not snow load. It's not from snow that is causing it. This is from something pulling it forcefully down. Now, so many people talk about the whole tree structures, and they make these tree structures, and it goes all over the place. Like the Indians, right? They actually do tree structures to like, oh, this is a good food area. This is a good, watch out. This is where humans are, or whatever. And we believe that that's why Bigfoot does what it does with these bangings and stuff. Go next. This is us after worn out from the day, and we just had a little fire going, and then we're just hanging out, enjoying the outdoors. And then he walked in a swamp, and it went whoop, right up. And this is all about having fun. There goes the next one. Okay, so this is another one. You can see this X here coming up through, and it threaded straight up through this other tree. Now there was no other trees up here that broke this off, or was broken off. So this was actually placed like this, and to me it's very interesting to me, and to figure it out if it's really from weather or I mean this is just. Over that way where it comes down and around, yeah, that's some interesting stuff. All right, go to the next one. All right, and then the same here. This is all like intertwined, and you can see how things are intertwined. Now this was actually covering a trail, like there was just a trail, a deer trail, and we just got up there the next day, and this was literally crossing the trail, and unless somebody's following us around, I mean, we don't, that's one thing we don't do is we don't tell anybody where we're going. We don't say where we're going, when we're going, we just say we're going on an expedition, that's it. And then that's where we just go. Okay, and this is just some more of intertwine, twisting. Now this here, this was over in the Allegheny State Park. And okay, there is snow load, okay? There's something that you call, I mean, a snow load. You get the snow, heavy snow comes down, bends these down. But these were all perfectly like an aisle, just bent right over, just like you were going through some kind of a, what's that?
There's like 30, 40 trees right
Yeah, 30, 40 trees, just bent over like you were just going through a tunnel.
walking. You can just look at that, they're all pulled over and like twisted to each other.
It was something. I remember this. This was
like
really.
Twilight Zone.
It was like Twilight Zone. Yeah, there you go. All right, go to the next one. And this is some of those other ones too. Now this is a horse trail. This is one of the horse trails over in Allegheny State Park. I mean, you can see that. There's no snow load. It literally bended. Do you see what we're talking about? Like how it just bends, and it's something baffling your mind, you know. So we were walking this whole trail out there, and they were all bent over like that. It was something interesting. Now, if there's a tornado will twist the trees and make them. I mean, this is possible. There's also something that it's called a wind burst or a something like that blasts through. But these are two really odd. Go to the next one. And then this is this tree here is a full-size tree in an area we call Area X. The reason why we call it Area X is because we have activity every time we go there. We could take somebody there right now, tonight, and we would have activity. Except, yeah, possibly. Because hunting season, as hunting season comes in, it kind of diminishes. So this is a twist. You can see how this tree is twisted. I mean, it was about, I would say like this. And it was just twisted around, and it just, we're like, well, this is just, we need to take pictures of this. So this is all evidence that we gather from our expeditions that we do. All right, go to the next one. Now this is just another tree example where it comes down. This was in Droney. These trees up here were all bent down, and then it threaded in here. We actually took Pennsylvania Bigfoot Project up there to verify if this is a possibility that this could be a squatch, and she said, yeah, there is a possibility. It could also be a bear that went up a tree, and it broke the branches coming down, and it came down like that, but we don't know. And that's the other tree. That's the same tree that was twisted. Yeah, see, right here. This is that I was telling you about. They said a bear went up into the tree and broke the branches, and they came down like that. And there's definitely a good possibility, but we were talking about how these look like they were being, you know, all like put together like that. Now, this here is interesting. This is a bone from a deer. Now this is cool. We found this whole deer up on Droney, and like I was talking about, these high cliffs come down. Well, this deer was down at the bottom of that high cliff, and its legs were broke, and its neck was broke, and its back was broke. And the legs, as it, we figured out as it hit the ground, it broke, but they were twisted. This was actually twisted off, or something literally twisted the bone. And this was something that, I mean, and then at the same time that happened, what did we hear? Right up above us. As we were looking at this, and we were investigating this, and all of a sudden a big tree knock or something got thrown, and we're like, oh. And it was big. So this was a very interesting, gory type of, I mean, this is broke. This is literally, you can see how it's chipped where it's twisted. All right, go to the next one. See, here's the other, this is the backbone. That's the backbone. And it's twisted, or it's broke, like in half. The back wasn't twisted, it was broke in half, right? Its neck was snapped right there. Okay, that's where it came down in. That was interesting. Okay, so these are our tracks, or these are our castings that we got. We have them over here demonstrated. This is some of the stuff that we got basically this year. What's interesting about how this happens is we get most of our activity in April or May, and going into June, and then it kind of slows down a little bit. But these, I was walking up to check my trail cameras. I have 10 trail cameras in this one area because I want to get something on there that literally, I just want. It's gonna happen. And we walked up there. I'm like, dude. I contacted you. I'm like, you gotta get up here. There is tracks going up this mud hole. And we go up there, and then I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't cast it. Maybe I should cast it. So I'm like, heck, well, I'm just gonna cast it. And it came out to be in. It kind of looked like a boot, and then it kind of looked like either. I couldn't see no toe definition in this one. Go to the next one. But this one had toe definition, which is over here. And then I was thinking, okay, this one kind of looks like I don't know. All right, so this one it has toes. All right, so okay, well that's very interesting. So this one here had toes, and then you can see what I was looking for is somebody else with boots, right? Hoaxing me. So I was looking for their boots walking up the side because, you know, being a stamper, you know, going like that. And there was nothing going up each side, nothing at all. And they were just these. And these prints have been, I got them verified from Pennsylvania Bigfoot Project. So I want to know, I want to make sure my stuff is definitely could be legit. So she's like, yeah, this is some interesting, these are some interesting casts. The one looked like a pregnant, she said, because the one cast over here has an arch to it. Or the next one. Yeah, right here. This one here has that arch to it. It goes right up through. That was interesting. This one right here. And that one's over here. That could have been pregnant because of it twisting, because of its, you know, being around. Or it could have been a deformity of some sort. Go that. Yeah, right here. Where this is going down like this. It had a deformity of some sort right up into there, and that was interesting. And each one of these prints were about at least maybe, I don't know, maybe I would say about 4 foot 5 spread between each. Yeah, about 6. Yeah. Go to the next one. Yeah, there's one. Right there's the other one. It's about 6 feet between this one and the other one, if you can see that. So there was, and this is, they were going up. They're walking up. This is ours. This is our track here. Those are our tracks there. And when we were going up there, looking at it, I was like, what is going on here? I go to the next one, like. Okay, so this one here we thought was a bear, straight up. But it wasn't. This was a legitimate footprint, and it was baffling. So all these are over there. Now all of these prints are in the same area we call Area X, and I am monitoring that area 24/7 with trail cameras and other spy cameras and stuff that are in the vicinity to try to prove the existence of this thing. That it is there, or some type of cryptid is there. Go to the next. That's the same print. Go to the next. And this is another one that's in the mud, going up through. This is the one that was casted. And then this is what we found, like right by the tracks, an X, straight up. So it's probably like saying, you ain't supposed to be here. Go to the next one. Now this is some hair that we found. Now what you have to understand about Bigfoot hair is Bigfoot hair is coarse hair. It's thick and coarse. It's almost like a tail of a horse, or a tail of a cow, or something like that. The hair is very, very coarse. It's not like this. And this is why I put this here. This is a demonstration. This is coyote. That is coyote fur that we found. Go to the next one. And then this is a thread coming up. I have a quick story about this one. I was going up to check my cameras because I go up to check my SD cards. And I take my SD cards because I would rather see them on my computer than on a card reader. And so I go up, grab my SD cards. I keep my cameras up there about 4 or 5 weeks, and then go up and then take it home. I was going up there, and I found this across the trail, literally cutting me off. I couldn't go that way, and I'm like, what the heck just put this? I'm like, this wasn't here 3 weeks ago. You know what I mean? And I'm like, what in the heck did this? You know? And then I went up to get my trail camera, SD card. All of a sudden, I heard it sounded like something swimming. And this is in June, and there's the area that we go in. There's a lot of high thickets, not thickets, but like briars and stuff. And I heard this. I'm like, it sounds like something swimming up there, and there was something coming towards me, walking through all of those, you could hear those briars ripping at whatever was coming through there, heading to me. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, what? And where I was at is right here where the trail camera is, but where I was at that intersection. I couldn't go any further, so I was standing there looking at it, investigating it, like Sherlock Holmes, you know. And then I heard this, I was like, what in the heck is coming at me? I was so excited, you know, and all of a sudden it just stopped. It just literally stopped. Like, I'm like, my hair started going up, I'm like, that thing is it's right up into those sticks. I couldn't see because it was so thick. And then all of a sudden, I just heard it going in the opposite direction, just as fast as it came this way. And I'm like, I gotta get up there. I gotta try to film it, do whatever I could. What am I gonna do? You know? I mean, this thing is so fast. I mean, it would be like not trying to catch anything, you know. But these are our trail cameras we use. We use several different types. The Walmart brands are, I mean, the only good ones on there are Bushnell. Bushnell are really good trail cameras. These Wild Views, they leak, they fog up, and you know, if you want to try to do big, you go out and look for Bigfoot. You use trail cameras. Try not to get this one here. They kind of fog up and in the conditions. Go to the next one, buddy. And these here are gifting. We call it gifting. So we leave gifts for Bigfoot. And this one here was a little toy, and I put it on this thing to see whatever comes in, and unfortunately nothing came in on this area. But we've had things happen to our other gifts, like disappeared. And there's nothing, like our camera shut off. It's interesting. It's almost like Bigfoot could shut off the camera. It goes in front of the camera, takes what it got, and then leaves. It's so weird how they could do that. You know, that much stealth. I don't know. So this is gifting. This is pretty interesting stuff. Go on, buddy. This is an unknown object of some sort I casted. This was over in the Allegheny State Park. I truly believe that a portion of this, it looks like a dog bone or some sort, but the back part of this is, I was thinking of a possible horse hoof going down, but I don't know what it is. Maybe you would know. It's over here on this table over here. And this is the length of it. And then this is a Pennsylvania Bigfoot project, along with Amy Boo from Ohio, BFRO. She's really cool. And she's been in contact with many Bigfoot researchers. And she came in town because she wanted to see what was going on in Bradford. And I'm like, well, not as much. So, but she came in and she went on an expedition and she really enjoyed it. And you know, she said that, you know, it's some really interesting stuff that happens. But when we went with Pennsylvania Bigfoot Project, how they had it was they had a team in the parking lot staying by the vehicle. They had a team that came up around with us, and we went up there, and we got a rock thrown at us, which the rock is over there, that was literally thrown at us. And Amy Boo was like, over the radio, I remember this, you know, you could watch my videos if you want to on YouTube. You just look, everything is over here, information on our YouTube channel and everything. But the video is actually on there. You know, Amy Boo, she's like, it's heading your way, and I'm like, I was so excited, wasn't I? I'm like, oh my gosh, it's heading our way, man. You know, it's like our $1 million shot, you know. And you went up after where the rock was thrown in that direction. I mean, did you see anything? I mean,
well, not really. I more heard. I was more listening.
and you said it went up, flanked up and around.
Yeah, it's flanking up and around.
That was some intense.
It's trying high ground.
So this is a high ground. Yep, that's how they always do. But these guys are really good people. They really are. All right. This is that dog bone type thing. Still don't know what it was. And this is another picture of that. And see, this is the other part of the trail. So that other part's this side, and then that's that side, and that trail is blocked off. And then right there's the. And while I'm taking pictures, this activity's happening. So I'm really putting my head out there. I'm sticking my head out there. This is some more gifting. This is a glow ball that I stuck on a tree. Now again, the camera is facing this thing, and the glow ball disappears. Nowhere to be found. It was just gone. And these cameras that I was utilizing, you know, Bushnell cameras were really nice cameras. And the batteries were good, everything. And I'm like, how in the heck did they come in there and grab that? You know, and having the weight down there like that, you know, even a bird or a squirrel, you know, it would have to have some type of a force to get that out. But it was gone, slow ball. And then this is the other tree comes across and cut that trail in half. Keep going. And then this is some of our stuff that we do out in the field. We have a video that we set it up sometimes on the trail, and we walk up the trail, and then if anything comes through, it records it. Right? Now this here baffled many people. This here is what Pennsylvania Bigfoot Project said it was like an alien ship came down in this field, and it was doing what those circles, crop circles. And this was like all matted down in this field, and we're like, what in the world? And it was all matted down, and this is Area X. Most of this is Area X. Right? I go to the next one. All right, and then this was twisted branch, 7 feet high. We found that this was twisted off. All right, go there. This is another trail camera we got. And that's it, and that's all. Okay, this is another video. This is video. Pop up this video. Okay, we'll just watch it for a second. A truck driver sent this to me down by Virginia, right on the boundary of Washington, PA. And he says there was a Bigfoot that popped up on the side of the road, and on the left side as he was driving out, and nobody else could find it. I analyzed the video, blew it up, made it brighter, and I found him up here on the side of this road that was on the left side. And I sent it viral. I sent it all over the place. You just keep watching off to the left. A little circle, I circle it with the yellow. There. This truck driver was so fanatic about this, he called me through Facebook. I was like, I was hearing my phone go, you know, a Facebook call. Yeah, that's it. There was nothing else on that one. But he's like, man, you gotta see this. What do you know, and then he started going to conclusions. Do you think I'm nuts? Do you think I'm whatever? I'm like, dude, just send me the video. And I'll check it out, I'll analyze it and blow it up and make it, you know, where I can see it, because I couldn't see it because it was too dark. So I analyzed it, and I'm like, man, you got something here, you know. And then we just, he got a team down there, a Bigfoot team went down there, and checked out the area and said it was squatchy for sure. Now what squatchy means is there's a possibility that there is a Bigfoot in that area, okay? So, I don't have this other footage up here, but I want to tell you something. In June, my trail camera cost something $1 million shot of something running, because I put all my trail cameras on video. Something running 100 miles an hour this way on 2 legs. Remember that? I mean, is there a way that you can go on my website and pop that video up? Because I think these people would really would see pretty cool stuff. And my trail camera, I just got this trail camera, and I put it on a tree, and all of a sudden, I was coming up to check it. See, I didn't know, you know what I mean? I went up and grabbed, took the, and went back home and put it up, and I'm like, oh my. I'm like, that was just today. That thing was just there, you know what I mean? And there was something on 2 legs that was at least 100 miles. It looked like it's running this way. And then it ran back this way. Something stood up and went like that and got back down. And it got back down on all fours. So I'm thinking, fair. But the sound it made, it was weird. It sounded like something gargling, like that, but in a pipe. Like it had an echo, like a pipe, like it was like a pipe in a pipe. And it was chasing a deer. I don't know if you can. Yeah, you might want to just go into. Yeah, here we are. This is our thing. It's called the Squatch Stalker. Is what it's called. I believe it was chasing a deer. I truly because there was a fawn that ran back down into. You might be able to just. You never know. I mean, it was almost like that, man. It was like the legs were like that. It was so weird. But this actually happened in June. And then when I went up there to put another trail camera, I didn't know this stuff was going on, okay? Not until I got home and looked at it. And then I went up there to the same spot where the thing was. I didn't know. And I felt my hair go up. And I'm putting up a trail camera, and I turn around. I'm like, what the heck is that? And there was a deer standing there, right? This ain't just like no deer. This is weird. The eyes were glowing white. The eyes were glowing white. I had no flashlight on it or nothing on the deer. But the eyes were glowing white. And it was really interesting. All right, here it is. This is the beginning of, all right. Now, I think I talk about it on this one here. Yeah, here we go. Can you fast forward a little bit? There we go. Here we go.
Okay, folks.
Oh no, this ain't it. This is
clip from the trail camera. Now look at this. We're gonna go back, and this is where I want you to look.
right here.
I want you to look right up in here. I want you to look right up in here.
Yeah,
You're gonna see something that is gonna run so fast this way.
Yeah, this is the smaller version.
Then you're gonna
There's
see
another one
deer
on our other thing. It's one of our evidence of Bigfoot right there. Yeah, right there it is. 36 seconds. That's it right there. Okay, this is 36 seconds. This is in it. Okay, look at this thing. Run it back again. Yep, it's at the beginning of the video. See it? I don't know if you can see that. Run it back again. Oh, there. Then now it's coming down here. Okay, comes the deer. Now watch up there. Did you see it stand up? All right, run it back just a little bit. Yeah, it's right there. Keep watching. When the deer comes down here, look up in here, and you'll see this thing stand up and vocal. Right there. Did you see it? It's standing up right here. If you can't see it back there, you can come up and you can see it more clearly. And we're just about done anyway. We are. You guys are gonna come up. Do it again. The deer runs down through here. Did you rewind it?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the deer. Now watch, I didn't stand up. Right there.
It's right behind that limb.
It was right here. Yeah, it is still there. You're right. It's still there. And then I came up after that. All right, rewind it again. And did you hear the sound it made? It goes, "Bah!" Do it again, folks. This is pretty cool. But this is the best evidence. We got something. And I sent this to National Geographic. They were really intrigued. Oh yeah, they were intrigued, very intrigued on it. So that is some pretty cool evidence. So before we headed into like a switch over time for Cryptovania, does anybody have any questions or anything? Any sightings? Any ideas? How many times a week you guys go on? We go approximately probably 2 times a month. Yeah, in this area. Yeah, we go in McKean County, Potter County, upstate New York, and we've been having all kinds of interesting things happen. That's good. But we have correlated some evidence over there, and then these guys here from this Donald SLOVEY, he's from Spartansburg, PA. That's the this all is free. This one here. Yeah, that is Spartansburg, Pennsylvania. But without any further ado, you guys can check out some stuff, and then the next one will be coming up is Cryptovania. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really enjoying this. Not too many people in Bradford that really ignite this topic, but we are trying to do our best to ignite this topic to people and bring awareness. So the next ones that are up is Cryptovania, Jason Controls.
I'm going to start now. Okay, first what I'm going to do is show you the introduction to our Cryptovania series, which is a interview series where we bring in people from around the country who investigate Bigfoot and paranormal activity, and we try to get to know them. This is the introduction to that.
The time is now. Our adventure continues. Our quest reaches deeper into the darkest forests, higher up the mountain, further up the stream, just around the next bend. Onward, upward, deeper.
Garnering the facts, wrangling the data, following the leads, building on the foundations of the knowledge of experiences had, using all tools available.
Whether generations or days, chasing the slippery tails, seeking out the legends. The quest for the elusive evidence never rests. The quest is eternal.
Come join our journey.
Become a fellow seeker. Sample the strange knowledge. This is Cryptovania.
Now, Cryptovania is basically, we are not a research group. We are a group of enthusiasts. We are fanboys of the Bigfoot world, basically. And what we have done is we have created a pretty robust Facebook group and a Roku streaming television channel that is dedicated to outdoor adventure and the pursuit of Bigfoot and other cryptids. We have about 500 selections on our Roku channel. Quite a few of them are our own originals. That's an introduction to our originals. And another key factor of Cryptovania is what we call our peer-generated archives, which are basically videos produced from content producers all over the country and the world, really. We've got Canadians and Irishmen in there too. And what we have is we befriend them. They allow us to use their videos of their research. Some of this stuff is just people walking in the woods and discussing stuff, and some of it's a little bit more produced. And we have several groups that are part of that. We have, including the Bradford group here. You can find a good, I think, 12 or 14 of their videos on there. And we try to present our peer-generated archives as a who's who of Bigfoot and paranormal investigators in the country and the world, for you to go check out their stuff, get introduced, and then the ones that you would like to look into further, we direct you where to find them. Like you can find the rest of the East Bradford group on their YouTube channel. And we also do our own original productions. We have our podcast is called 3 Beers at Ray's, and what we do with that is that's a Skype-based podcast where we have people from around the country, and we get to talk to them for about an hour or so about their current adventures, and basically anything's on the table when we have these guys come on. For our actual flagship CRYPTOVANIA show, we have people come into our studio. The group of us that started this, we all work together in a tire shop in Hightown, which is just north of Titusville. And fortunately for us, our frontman Tommy Cooper, who owns the tire shop that we work at, his house is right next to the tire shop, and there is no Mrs. Cooper, so we have converted his house into 2 different studios. It's kind of nice not having a Mrs. there to put the kibosh to our ideas, and we get to basically run free with this house. And we've turned his living room into a studio, and then we turned another room into a bar. And when we bring people in, they're at our studio. Merlin here has done an interview in our studio, and his episode will be up here shortly. And then in the bar, that's where we do our 3 Beers at Ray's. And basically what that is we want to have a couple of beers with Bigfoot researchers. So we call it 3 Beers at Ray's. And that's kind of what we shoot for, is about an hour, about 3 beers long, maybe a few more if you drink fast. Then we also have what we call our Zero Squatch 30 episodes, which are first-person accounts of people's encounters. And what they do is they give us a verbal telling of it, we interview them with it, and we put different footage to that. And basically, what we're shooting for is a first-person account of Bigfoot encounters. Tom Keys here has one where he was out in the woods and he got some pretty good footage of something moving across the hill and then disappearing. And he gives us a good thorough telling of that. He's going to come up a little bit later and talk about that experience too. We also have interview shows where we kind of venture outside of both Bigfoot and paranormal world, and we're basically into adventure also. And we have our 5 Pounds of Sugar, which is an interview show of people that are figuring out ways to make a living that doesn't include a time clock. Some kind of interesting way. Our first one was a guy named R.A. Mahaloff, who was grew up not too far from Titusville, and he is in the 2nd and 3rd Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. He's Leatherface in those movies. And so we get to have an interview of how this boy from Townville, Pennsylvania ended up becoming a Hollywood icon. And he's got a very busy schedule where he goes to lots of these horror cons and stuff like that. He's in 30 or 40 films, and we wanted to get to know, how did a kid from Townville get to making movies in Hollywood, and that's how he does it, because we want to figure out ways that are to make a living outside of punching a time clock, and so that's what we're doing, is talking to people that are doing that. George Clarkson is a guitarist from Florida with ties from up here. He flew up here, and we did an interview with him and again talking about the little bit of the nuts and bolts of making your living in a slightly different fashion than what most of us end up having to do. And so we are basically a CRYPTOVANIA is basically a Roku channel. It's a Facebook group, and we kind of push it out there that we're kind of a way of life and a way of adventure. We embrace anything that's fun and adventurous, with a great emphasis being on Bigfoot. And most of our stuff is Bigfoot oriented. And what you will find when you take a look at all of these researchers that are into Bigfoot, and you'll find that there's these different camps of thought, where on one hand, you have people that believe that Bigfoot is a remnant hominid that's a primate, this very physical being, and there's very physical, logical answers for why he's so elusive, that point to skill and intelligence and all of that. And then you go to the opposite spectrum, where people like myself, I'm into what I call quantum Bigfoot. I believe that the reason they are so elusive and so hard to catch is because they come in and out of our realms, our universe. And I believe that Bigfoot and UFOs and ghosts are all very, very closely related, and maybe each a different version of some one thing that has maybe I don't believe that it's like a magic, like a hocus pocus, but I do believe that there's science that we don't really understand yet. And I think we're starting to make inroads with that, with like quantum computing and quantum physics, which really is pushing the realms of possibilities and reality, really. And when you really look into quantum computing and quantum physics, what those people are putting out there kind of makes Bigfoot seem easy to understand, because that stuff is crazy and it's out there. But I kind of point to back in the 60s and 70s, if you were to say that we have computers that can do what we are so used to now, we would have just poo-pooed you. Back when Dick Tracy had the things on, had the watch that he could communicate with, and it was just a very tiny little thing. It seemed, you know, pie in the sky, way far in the future. Now that's nothing. That's really easily explained now. But 50 years ago, it would have been way harder to explain that. It would seem almost like you're dealing in the realms of magic and supernatural, but we all know that there's very concrete, physical, scientific methods behind us having maybe a little tiny thing on our watch that can, or our phones, which are so tiny but can pack so much information into them. 50 years ago, that concept, you might be laughed out of the room when you say, oh, people in 50 years are going to be able to check they're going to be able to check what temperature the refrigerator is from their telephone. Ah, boo. So that's kind of where I come at from the Bigfoot thing. I don't think it's magic, but I think that there's science that we don't quite understand. I also take it a little farther down the rabbit hole, and I believe that the numbers of encounters are definitely on the increase. And an explanation for that might be that we can now reach out to each other through the internet, and we see all of these. And now a group that's in Bradford can easily make touch with a group in Titusville, where that wouldn't have happened 20 years ago. You know, the 2 hours between us may as well be 2 years between us for casual conversation. But now, you and I, we can BS about just about anything, and it's really easy. And so you can point to that as being the explanation why there's so many more encounters that are brought out. But I personally believe that the number of encounters is increasing, and it's easier for all of us to share. I think we're being built or being prodded towards some kind of disclosure myself. And I think that it's going to be, groundbreaking, and I think it's going to be shocking to the senses. And I think new technology is going to spring out of it, kind of like it has in the last 30, 40 years. You know, if you were to look at technology on a timeline, it continues on, and then in the last years, it just takes on. And maybe that keeps on going, and 20 years from now, we'll look back and be like, man, we were so primitive back then. Just like we look at like the 70s and 80s with our video games, and you know, the first ones were Pong, and you know, just, that was cool as heck. You know, now you've got these multi-role games, and you can play with each other, and there's all these fantastic realities, all built into a little game.
And then there's even drones.
Yeah.
Like anybody can own a drone and fly it around.
Yeah, and really, 20 years ago, that kind of thing was, you know.
The military had it.
Yeah, and it was a conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
You know, and
now-
so a lot of what we take for granted now and accept as reality, not that long ago, was a conspiracy theory to think that way. And so that's where I come from. Now, Don, you're more of a flesh and blood, and more, you know, its ability to avoid detection is more based on skill, its own skill. And that's kind of one of the beauties of this whole field is I have my theory and he has his theory, but neither one of us really knows which one is right, and it could be that both of us are wrong. You know, that's a very distinct possibility. And one of the things when you dive into something like this, where there's no real established what is reality, you get to kind of formulate, and you might find that your own theories kind of maybe mimic your own personality and stuff. I'm very open to things being kind of weird and crazy, and it's just kind of how it is. You know, and so it's probably natural that I suspect that there's weird, crazy things that happen that we don't understand. And one of the goals of CRYPTOVANIA is to present all these arguments so you can kind of take a look at them all. And you can go onto our channel, and it's easily navigable, and you can find all kinds of different approaches to Bigfoot and ghosts and aliens and all of those things. And with the whole thing with Bigfoot, like a lot of people will talk about there have been hoaxes, you can be mistaken, and you can take 100 encounters and you can come up with, well, maybe 45 of them are hoaxes and another 45 are just mistaken, where something that you see, you're seeing it wrong. That's, you know, what you suspect it is might not be. But we just have to have one of those. One of those 100. If it's true and correct, and there is a Bigfoot out there, it destroys all of the arguments against it. You know, so you can say 45 of them are hoaxes, 45 of them are just mistaken and people wanting to see what they're seeing. But what about the other ones? All I need to do is win one out of 100 of those arguments, and the whole paradigm is destroyed. You know, for the paradigm that we have now, every single one of those encounters has to either be a hoax or mistaken. And I kind of feel that for that many encounters, there's thousands and thousands and thousands that are documented. I kind of find it a conspiracy theory if somebody tells me that every single one of those is wrong. I'm thinking, you have a more difficult task than I do. I just got to prove one's right. And that's kind of how we look at it. And we kind of celebrate all of this. Even the hoaxes and the mistakes, they still point that there's something out there. There's some kind of enigma, whether it's an actual physical Bigfoot, whether it's a paranormal thing, or whether it's thousands of people being completely mistaken. It's still something concrete, and it's huge. And you're starting to see it creep into our culture. There's movies about Bigfoot. Miramax puts out movies about Bigfoot, and you say, oh yeah, they're just pandering. But they're pandering to something that's there. There's something that's there that brings people to a room to hear some guys talk about Bigfoot, that that these guys go out and spend hours and hours in the woods. There's people that are just doing it on the keyboards. There's something there that's a big draw. And it's something that maybe you can't always put your hands on it, but there's something there. There's something drawing everybody to, or lots of people to this question. And it keeps getting built more and more and more. And when you go on to like Facebook, and you kind of think of Facebook, you don't think of Northwest Pennsylvania as fantastic Facebook country or fantastic tech stuff. You know, we're supposed to be a little more simple than that. But you can't have a family reunion. You can't have a yard sale. You can't have a news event without it also taking place on Facebook. And you will find that there's hundreds of these Facebook groups out there dedicated to Bigfoot. And some of them come at it from this angle, some of it come at it from a different angle, but there's thousands and thousands and thousands. I think the BFRO site group has 30,000 in it.
Yeah.
So that's 30,000 people in America that are serious enough about Bigfoot that they're joining this Facebook group on there. And if you put a post in there of some kind of evidence, you will find a couple hundred likes.
Yeah.
You'll find a couple dozen comments. You'll find lots of arguing and stuff. But what you find is that you've got 30,000 people that are into Bigfoot, and there's lots of these groups. Our groups each have a couple thousand in them, and there's this huge number of people that, if they're not convinced, they suspect that there's this entity out there, this Bigfoot. And so either thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people are completely wrong, or there's some kind of thing out there. And that's what we celebrate. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Over the period of years, I've heard Bigfoot, but what type of definition is there? There's a tremendous amount of variability in people. And this is what I noticed, for example, some of the movies that talk about the people in the wooded lands of South Carolina, Virginia, all of those primordial lands, more tropical lands with more tropical animals, etc. And then some of the stories about what something happened in New York State, for example. They describe people humanly, but they're different. They're at the extreme end of a scale. And I know there are people that love to eat meat, fatted. Just like animals will eat fatted meat. And there are people out there that are enormous, 8 foot tall. We know this because we have sports teams with 7 foot 8 people. 8 foot tall people. Now, some people have hair and some people don't. But an 8 foot tall guy with lots of hair on his body that was more animal-like, more than somewhere on that scale. Would that be considered? Is that a possibility for what's happening?
It is a possibility. It definitely is. And there's even, some people think that there's like a hybridization that has happened between like Neanderthal man and modern human man, and that these are remnants. And
There is a genetic mutation that humans can go through. It looks like a werewolf.
yes,
You know, that
you
they
sprout
grow
weird
hair
hairs.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And they look like they look like actually a werewolf.
Back at the turn of the 19th century, you had a lot of the carnivals and stuff. You would have
Yes.
the bearded lady and people that are,
And I used to see those things.
and it's kind of a, where are the definitions? Oh, that's not a Bigfoot, that's some kind of hybrid. Man, I really don't know. And myself, I'm a big fan of, there was a race of people with conical heads down from Peru and Central America that had trading posts up here. I've often wondered if maybe Bigfoot wasn't a hybrid between them and us. Some people get really into, go down the rabbit hole, and they will say that Bigfoot is the descendants of Cain, destined to wander the earth alone. you know, and, you know, it's got a biblical sense. Is that a story, or is that a possible truth? Is that taken up, is that a possibility here? And I really don't know, but what I do love is I love the questions. You know, and so, you know, the answers, they're kind of almost immaterial to really the question. And, you know, and it's, it helps kind of guide like your own entertainment and stuff. And with these computers and internet, you can choose to go down any rabbit hole you want and get find lots and lots of information. And it's kind of great because it used to be like when I was a kid, you had a couple of channels from television and you could watch what they had, or you could go do whatever you wanted, or you could maybe come to the library and stuff. And now you have this fantastic amount of material and information available that makes any of these libraries, it dwarfs the amount of information in here. Fantastic. And you know, for us, it's wonderful. It's a great time. And I'd like to go now. Don SLOVEY he runs a group called DWS, Bigfoot Research Organization out of Spartanburg. And he's got a fantastic array here of casts, foot casts. We have a hand cast here, but he's also has come up with some fantastic photos. This was from Game Cam. There was a very famous video. It is his. There's a Bigfoot, and you can see it on the screen. You can see it pacing back and forth, and it kind of, I'd say, what? It's a minute and a half to 2 minutes. The video. You can see the Bigfoot off there, and you can hear his ex, you know, saying, "Oh, what is it?" And it moves, and then it kind of comes across here. And it's a very vivid photo. It's not, or video. It's not the Todd Standing Discovering Bigfoot one where you've got right there filling the screen with head, but it's a little bit more pronounced than the one you showed us earlier, and you can see there's something walking back and forth there. And it has been broke down many times because that video has been out there for a while, and it's been on YouTube, and it's got lots and lots of views, and lots of people have sat down and broke it down into what they think it is, if it's not Bigfoot, what it could be. And nobody's ever given a very good breakdown that proves it's wrong. You know, they can maybe point to this or that, but nobody's ever been able to say, this concretely is this. And in all reality, it's just the onus is on them to prove it wrong. And it's there. There is something there that is large, that is bigger than us, and it's going back and forth, and it almost acts confused. And some of the theories have been that it was actually responding to them and trying to get their attention because maybe it had a young one. And so it was kind of walking back and forth or in a circle in a way, getting his attention because there was something maybe over here, like a decoy type thing. You know, and again, how do you prove it right or wrong? But there's just lots and lots of videos out there like that. That's one of my favorites. These are still shots from that video? Yeah. In the video, you see this character here. It is probably a space about like this. It either walks kind of in a circle or it's pacing almost like it's confused. You know. And again, I personally kind of feel like it was decoying. It was almost like saying, "Hey, I'm over here," you know, and trying to get all your attention's over here. What's going on over there? That's my feeling on how that went down. But Dawn is I've dubbed Dawn the master caster because there's lots of casts around. But when you can I take this? When you look at the fantastic detail and definition on these casts, they're fantastic. And I think you have 150 to 200 of these. Yeah. We did an interview where he brought them out and had them displayed out in his yard for us to go around. And it's incredible because you're like, well, maybe you come across a footprint once in a while, or maybe you've come across an impression once in a while. But to be able to come up with enough impressionable casts that you have close to 200 casts of Bigfoot, that's a mountain of evidence. That is a, that's
And you know
huge.
what? There is so many people that are sitting on their own evidence and they won't come forward with it because they're afraid of ridicule.
Yeah, because there's the ridicule.
And I'm so thankful that like Donald is coming out and showing people, telling people and expressing. I love that, you know.
And as for motivation, you've come up with close to 200 casts, so you must be a rich man. You know. And so in order to put together enough material to have near 200 casts, that would be one hell of a job to be a hoaxer. To come up with 200 casts that are absolutely BS. That's a heck of a job. And for what? You've been doing this for 12 years.
10, 11 years.
You know, where's the motivation? Where's the mountains of cash that you get from having a bunch of Bigfoot casts? There's none. There's none.
You know, in Philadelphia, there's a place called, it's a funny name, the Mutter's Museum, like Mother, M-U-T-T-E-R-S.
Uh-huh.
A hospital. It was a medical center in Philadelphia, old Philadelphia, so it's in the numbered streets. You go into that thing and you can see 8.5 foot, 8.9 foot tall giants. And this guy didn't live very long, right? So you notice, you see the skeleton. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's the proof that some people. Now
Was he a
that-
hybrid or a throwback?
They, listen, that was probably in the 1800s or whatever else. Now, things happen today in hospitals. All babies aren't born. You know, when the doctors see certain things, they say it's a miscarriage,
Right.
it was a stillbirth, or it was
Right.
this. But lots of things actually do happen. And so, people who live in the forest, who live away from people, and there are people like that.
Yes,
There are people who do not, you know, life below zero. If you ever watch Life Below Zero, you see people living without anything, just self-sufficient in the woods. So you have to extrapolate from that and say, there are people in climates that are more conducive.
Yeah,
for
I
life.
watched a show on National Geographic where a guy, these people were living in the woods and they became like,
More like
with
animals.
hair and became like monsters, like,
Mhm.
you know, and I remember watching, I don't remember what it was, but I remember that. And they were going into the woods and they were believing that's what Bigfoot is these people that are living out into the woods, just normal everyday. I was like, man, I don't know.
And if you did that for over generations,
Exactly.
you know, we develop.
Yeah, we'll develop.
In
So
response
that's
to these
really
things, yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's some really good speech right there.
Would you like to come up and talk about your first encounter and some of your casting techniques and how we create these? Yeah, you can come on up, because you do go out casting too. This is Don Slovey, and this is Merlin. How you doing, Merlin?
Hello.
Good. And why don't you go over on the other side of your dad? There we go.
Does work, right? There we go. Hello, my name is Don Slowey from Bradford, Pennsylvania. I am a Bigfoot researcher from BWS, Bigfoot Researchers. My first encounter was back in 2009, and I was out hunting, and I was sitting there, and I heard this big crashing noise, and some ruffling around and stuff like that. And I kind of looked over out to the field area, and I've noticed this big brownish black thing off in the distance. And I'm like, oh great, I'm gonna get mauled by a damn bear. And and I'm sitting there, and I noticed they stood up. And yeah, I've had some bears stand up and kind of like move forward drop again. But this did not drop. It stood up and it looked right at me. And when it looked at me, it didn't turn its head like it would, like a human being would turn its head. It literally turned its whole upper body and looked like this here. And when it looked at me, yeah, it had like no neck, it's all muscle pretty much. And I'm like, oh, okay. So somebody's out here messing with me. And which is a little stupid around hunting season. I mean, if you're out in the woods with a monkey suit on, you're gonna get shot. and I'm like standing here, like, well, okay. And I'm thinking to myself, this is somebody joking around, but he was a pretty big guy. He was. It stood up, it had a lot of hair on it, and like I said, when it turned and looked at me, it kind of grunted a little bit, and kind of took off running. And I'm like, okay, so I got up and I gone over to that area to check it out, to see if there's human footprints or whatever. But I'm like, and at the time I'm still thinking it's a prank. And I walked over to the area and I seen one footprint. Now, if I would have only found one footprint, I would have definitely wrote it off as somebody messing with me. And I'm looking around and I see footprints all over the place, everywhere. And what it was doing as it was bent down, in fact, he's kind of bent down like what you are there, and it was doing something. Well, here it had a bunch of ferns all in that one area. And what I remember is it was kind of throwing like the ferns all in a big pile and kind of like in this hole that it, like, I don't know if it dug it out, if it scraped it up, what. But after that, I walked around in the area a little bit. I had my gun on me, of course. And I'm like walking around and I'm noticing more and more footprints. And that's when I got to thinking, it's like, okay, then what the hell is this? And I'm like thinking to myself, it's like, okay, a bear does not run on two legs. So this is definitely not a bear. And to me, it was about, at that time, matter of fact, I have a photo of him right here. When I first noticed it, and I hurried up and took a photo of it with a flip phone. So it's probably not a very good one, but you can definitely, yes, that one right there. You can definitely see how he turned and looked right at me. And that's when I flipped my phone and took the photo, and that's when it went crashing through the woods. And that was pretty much the first one I've ever seen in my entire life. That's the one I thought was somebody messing with me. And after that, I got to thinking, well, like I said, well, there's no way in hell this was a bear. And I got to thinking, it's like, well, I was always a disbeliever. I did not believe none of this shit. I thought it was a bunch of bull BS. And when I got to thinking, it's like, I think, okay, footprints, a big hairy guy, creature, running through the woods. Well, and then I got to thinking, well, maybe it is. Maybe it is Bigfoot. Well, I went back and started doing some research on Bigfoot and other different types of creatures that walked on two legs. And it more or less it fit the profile as a Sasquatch. And that's when I really started believing. And I went back home and telling my mother this, and she pretty much plainly came out and told me, you're full of shit. And I'm like, I'm not kidding. I said, I need some casting material, because there was a lot of prints there, and if I would have had the money, I would have casted every day one of them. But I went to the hardware store, and I grabbed some casting material, and I said, And I grabbed a buddy, which his name was David Montgomery, which I needed a witness. So I took him out there, and which he used to be a disbeliever too, because he was one of the type that if I see a Bigfoot, I'm gonna buck up to it and challenge it. Which that's a whole different story, because he actually did that, and he got chased through the frickin' woods. And but anyways, he held out and helped me out. He couldn't believe his eyes when he seen all the footprints, and he helped me with one. I casted two, got 2 castings out of it, and I let him have one of them for helping me. And that one was, matter of fact, I think it was well, I don't have that casting here, but it's a 20-inch foot. And he was a pretty good guy. And I'd say I'm going to estimate probably about 8 or 9 feet tall. And he was pretty big, and the way he grunted, the reason why I thought he was a bear is because the way it grunted. You know, it did that big like that, and crashing through the woods. Now, like I said, that was this whole story right there, the whole thing.
What's your technique for doing these casts?
My technique?
What's the material that's used?
It's plaster Paris.
Okay.
I do, now what I do first to get the toe detail is I take a real thin casting first. That's what is more liquid than usual.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do is I pour in the liquid first. I let that sit for maybe a couple seconds to harden up. Then I pour in the more thicker stuff. That's, you'll see around the edges here, you'll see that it's like it's a double, yeah, it's a double casting.
Okay. So you use a thinner mixture to get the definition of the toes and the
Exactly. I
bottom?
pour the thinner stuff in the toe area, which gets more detail of the toe.
Now, would that be like a pancake batter type consistency?
Yeah, it'd be something like that there, and a little more, probably a little more liquid than that. But
And then how long does it take for that to dry to where you can pull that up?
I usually wait an hour or so.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Yeah, it gets really hot. It's a really hot material. It heats up.
Okay, excellent. And that plaster of Paris, that's something that's easily available, right? You buy that by the
I use
bags?
now I buy the bag. I do it when I find the bag like at a hardware store or something like that. And yes, cause I used to just go get the small little, they have like small little boxes to buy. And when I
Got 200 casts that they got
yeah,
start heating it up.
yeah, there's no luck. It's expensive stuff. I mean, you go to Walmart and get some smaller boxes or bags or whatever. But it's best to go to the hardware store to where you can buy it in bulk with a big bag. Yeah.
Excellent. And so you'll find a trap, and you go back home usually and go get your stuff, or do you carry like a mixture with you?
No, I'll walk all the way back to the house if I have to. And because when I go out in the woods, I don't go out to look for it. I mean, because I don't always find stuff. Because I could go out in the woods, sit there all day and not see a dang thing, or even hear anything, or even find anything. The next day I'll go back out and there'll be all kinds of rackets everywhere. You'll see something running through the field or something. But yeah.
And that was a point that Jason made earlier, that you don't have to go deep into the wilderness looking for Sasquatch. And I've always said, I think a lot of times people walk right past really good areas because they've got this impression that you have to go deep into the wilderness to find them. And for whatever reason, I don't believe you have to. I think that whether it's curiosity or something is driving them towards encounters, but there's a lot of people that don't go very far that have evidence. Like yours is within walking distance of your house, really,
Yeah.
isn't it?
No,
I mean,
yeah.
like,
Well,
when you go
except for
Bigfoot and
when I go, state game lands, that's a little different, because that's way the hell out towards the egg farm and stuff like that, but.
But a lot of your stomping grounds are, you just walk out your door and go walking, don't you?
Well, yeah, I just pretty much walk across the street and then I go all the way up towards the wooded area. And
And a lot of people are doing these expeditions and they're packing their car full of stuff and they've got a couple $100 worth of gear and going off deep and maybe not finding stuff. And people like us they're just going off into the woods around our house.
yeah,
We're getting evidence, we're getting stuff. And I think a lot of times researchers walk right past Bigfoot because they have a preconceived notion of where you have to find him.
Right.
He's got to be in the middle of the wilderness.
well, there's a lot of Bigfoot hunters out there that, like he said, there's a lot of scams going on and a lot of hoaxing and stuff like that.
Thank you. Love the stage, gotta go. Thanks.
And,
You have a good one. Thanks for coming.
I myself, I don't go for hoaxers. I mean, they really, really tick me off. Because what it's doing is it's hurting every one of us that actually get out there in the field and try to find this thing and get the evidence that people want to see.
Yep.
A long time ago, it used to be, well, a photo speaks 1,000 words. Yes, it does. Video speaks a lot more. We went out and got the video, and they still don't believe it.
Yeah.
Now, it's not good enough. Now they want a body. Well, here's the thing. I've done some research, and I've talked to some military people, and they have spoken about they do have bodies, but they keep it all hush. Why they keep it hush is I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't see the reason in it. Aliens, they keep it quiet. People already know they exist. They see the ships, they see the bodies, the videos, all the evidence. Why keep this stuff hush? If the creatures were going to kill us or harm us in any way, they would have done it a long time ago. I don't see why in hiding it.
Protection myself.
Yeah.
No.
I think what it is the government is experimenting with these things and gutting them out, finding out how they tick, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a definite possibility. Yeah.
And a lot of them, I see a lot of talk about, well, Bigfoot's from outer space, time portholes, stuff like that. I don't know, I've been researching them for like 10, 11 years. Not once have I ever seen a UFO drop one off.
Right.
Not once have they ever jumped out of a porthole. I have seen them sitting, and more like they act kind of human, but kind of not. Kind of like a gorilla would. It's like if you were to go to a zoo and see some gorillas in a cage, they'd be like picking at each other or slapping each other or what. That's what I pretty much have seen them do. When they notice that I'm there, which I'm sure they know that I'm there anyways, they're not stupid creatures. They will let you know if you get too close. Guaranteed. They will throw some rocks at you. They will throw sticks at you. Then I've actually had them to where they would stomp the ground like you would see a gorilla would hit the ground.
Yeah.
And
Can you feel that? Like, can you feel
no, I can't feel the ground shake. No, not like King Kong or something like that. Now, if I see one the size of King Kong out there, I'm stopping. I'm not doing it anymore.
Stay in the house.
And I don't leave the state. No, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure things are possible. I believe in there's different energies, different portholes, like other dimensions, stuff like that. As for them coming from through the portholes and stuff like that, I can't say they do, I can't say they don't, because I've never seen them do it.
Right.
But I do believe that they are a flesh and blood creature. I mean, if you were to, like any other thing, everybody says, well, how come we don't see them all the time? I'm like, I'm out in the woods all the time, I never see a bear.
Right.
Unless it's there, you know. But
And there's a lot of bears
Yes, there is. I've got castings of bear prints too I've come across and casted them as well, but they said, well, how come you never find a body in the woods? Well, have you ever seen a dead bear out in the woods? I've never have. Matter of fact, I don't see dead deer out there unless it's busted up. Or
Yeah,
they're
it's very
stealing.
seldom that you come across a whole dead deer.
Yeah, like I was telling you there, I was out there hunting a couple of years ago. There, as we were driving there, one stole my deer from me. That's why I run up to them. As soon as I shoot it, I run right to it now. Because otherwise they will grab it and run.
Yeah, yeah.
Any more questions or any questions?
Then we will bring them, we want to come up and talk about your, this is Tom Keys. He is a very active member.
I project a little bit.
And he is in episode 3 of Zero Squash 30. He is Brother Tom. So, Brother Tom, why don't you give us a rundown of what you were doing when you had this sighting?
Well, for starters, I'm actually pretty new to looking for Bigfoot. I've been in the woods pretty much my entire life. Growing up, I know deer tracks, I know the edible foods. So, for a big creature like that in this area, it's highly possible for it to live year round. There's a food source everywhere. And these guys just in the last 2 years got me into actually paying attention to what's out there. Things that I wasn't looking at before, the tree structures and everything like that. And that's what took me to the bluffs up in Erie. And when I was in Erie, I cover about a 15-mile stretch of the shore of Lake Erie. And then I moved inland about 5 miles in different spots. And there's a lot of great structures, there's a lot of game lands along the area. And I was actually away from the bluffs, and there's a set of railroad tracks about a quarter mile off the road. And I walked down to the river because there was a flood about 2 days before. I go down, I was looking for tracks and stuff. And I looked all the way around the river, because where I was sitting, it actually flows in an S. And where I'm at on the railroad tracks, I'm looking down at the S curve. And I was sitting up at the top, taking a rest after circling around at the bottom, didn't find any tracks, just some turkey and stuff. And I was sitting there taking a break, and all of a sudden I caught some movement down in the waters, probably 150, 200 yards away, maybe a little bit further. And it was a huge guy. It was on 2 legs, and from the distance I was at, I was guessing probably at least 7 feet, minimum of 7 feet tall, with a cone-shaped head. And like it stopped. I caught the movement, but it stopped. And then all of a sudden, it started to move, and it walked behind a tree, and it disappeared. It didn't keep moving. It didn't reemerge anywhere else. I was like, well, what's going on here? And I stood up and walked straight down. There was nowhere for it to go. If it went left back up the creek, I would have seen it where I was going down. If it kept following down where I was, it would have went right past me. The only way for it to go would have been to turn when it was behind the tree and run. Problem with that, there's mud everywhere down there. I mean, there's a good set. In order to clear the mud from the creek to a dry spot, you'd have to cover about 10 feet. You'd have to clear at least 10 feet. Everywhere else, there's at least 6-foot banks the whole way around. Nothing when I got down there. Gone. No tracks. No. There was a couple people that suggested it might have been a fisherman. But like I said, it was so open at the bottom, there's no way I would have missed anybody walking in and out of there. And like I said, for a fisherman to go in, you're going a quarter mile just to get to the railroad tracks. You know, it wasn't a main hiking trail or anything like that.
You'd think you'd have to be bushwhacking through that area really to get through it.
Well, I mean, down along where I was walking looking for prints, that's a lot of what I was doing. I'm pushing through briars because I want to get to the spots where people aren't fishing. I want to get to the spots where people aren't hunting. Most hunters aren't going to walk through, you know, mud up to their knees and all that just to get to that one spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I said, with it being right after a flood, you'd think you'd find something.
Yeah.
There was a large being down there, a large person. Where did it go? And, you know, I'm not saying portals or anything like that. I believe both ends of the spectrum. So either it jumped 10 feet and disappeared without really making a noise, or it just been, you know, maybe went through a portal, maybe, or I can't remember who mentioned the orange and shine.
Yep. The Heiligen shine.
Yeah. And what that is, when you look at the light, like it gets bent through the hair. And what it is, because it's tubular hair, and it's clear and light colored, almost like a polar bear. They have a black skin, but they look white to us. And that's kind of what that bird does. You know, that idea is it's bending the light, and that's why photos are blurry. No matter what camera you use, and half the photos are blurry. When anybody catches movement, they say, "Oh well, it was moving, and then it just disappeared. Where'd it go?" You know, who knows what it could have been? Could be from the fur. It could be maybe it could jump up and maybe it was in a tree. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. You have to be open to all kinds of possibilities because your normal handful don't apply. You know, something odd is something out of the ordinary has happened. And so then you start opening and you might be like, well, that one seems ridiculous. That one, you know, and when you have an odd happening, sometimes the explanation is not going to fit your own preconceived notions. And
that's what got me started, because the tree structures is what got me really started. Because you know, we've all been in the woods, weather happens, you know, like you said, weather, wind, tornadoes, all that stuff happens, but you keep looking at certain things and they're tied together in a way that you can't explain. Or you get a series of the tree bends. And what got me is, you get these glyphs, they're kind of like a triangle. You know, the triangle shape, they come together with a big cross at the bottom. And most of them are laying on the ground.
yeah.
Most of the time, 75% of the time, I've been stepping into those, and that point faces north.
Okay.
Just about every time. This wind can do that.
Right, right.
You know, and people ask, well, where do you get your statistics? Well, about 7 out of every 10 glyphs that I found, you step in, and
you're looking north.
and I'm not talking, oh, well, north it's close. When you step in there and you're in the center, it's facing north. Is the wind going to do that all the time?
Right.
And just like a lot of tree bends, I wish I would have been a little bit more prepared. There's so many tree bends that take a 90-degree turn, and the only thing that we know of is Native Americans marking their trails and, you know, marking their hunting grounds. We know that they did that.
Yes.
You know, several of those trees still stand. So why is it such a, you know, an extreme concept to think that something else is doing it?
And then even like with snow bends, you know, some trees will get so much snow on them that they'll bend over. But if you write off those tree bends as just snow bends, why does just one do it and then maybe one over there? Shouldn't each of these trees in this cluster do it because they're all exposed to the same thing? Why is it that just one will be bent? And then what we find is they take a lot of these saplings and they bend, and then they're anchored to the ground. They're actually woven into something that keeps it from springing back. That's a very common feature among these tree beds. And like you're saying, is that like a road sign? Is it a communication from them to us or them to each other? You know, it's even been theorized. Greg Yost, one of our guests, theorized that what they're doing actually is a spiritual thing where they're basically creating a circular circuit with the earth, and they're actually feeding off of the energy that comes into those. And again, that's very far down a rabbit hole, but explain that away. You know, you can say, oh, that sounds ridiculous. Then what exactly is it? And you know,
we talked about that on the way here.
Mhm.
How, you know, everything has a magnetic field, an electrical field. You know, the earth has ley lines. They're readable. The ley lines have been there throughout history. You know, no matter what culture you look at, there's energy spots in the earth.
Mhm.
You know, why is it so far-fetched to believe that, you know, whether something's manipulating them or it's the energy there,
Yeah.
maybe that energy is drawing the Bigfoot. Maybe it's drawing these cryptids to that area.
Mhm. What comes first, the energy or the cryptid?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, you don't know when it comes to something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and again, that's one of the beauties of this whole cryptid world is, you know, you can go back and forth, and you can, you know, who's got the right answer, who's got the true correct answer. And a lot of people think they've got it, and you will find that in the Bigfoot world, people that they know the way because they're the expert. But it's a beautiful mystery. Yeah, because we're all chasing a unicorn, really, and a lot of times, you know, if you're gonna, you know, I say unicorn horns are white, and you say they're gold. You know, that's kind of a big part of it. We're out chasing unicorns, and
The biggest thing that gets me, like I said, is there's so many things that have been recorded throughout history. You know, civilization in Peru has the same structures and statues as a civilization over in India. How do you explain that, you know, completely?
or you'll see like the lizard god statue in Mesopotamia, in Europe, or, you know, Europe, Asia there, and then you also find it in Central America. And then they all date back to pre-travel back and forth. How did they both come up with the same imaginary story?
Yeah.
You know, that sounds like a conspiracy theory when you say, oh, it's just human nature that both these cultures came up with a very organized look at things that are very similar, but they both did it separate from each other. That kind of seems like an unprovable conspiracy theory that's just as unlikely as anything else that we talk about.
There's so much evidence, just like Forest County in this area, of giants existing. Like I got looking, and there's newspaper articles all over the place of giants. You know, here, Titusville, Kinzoo, Hickory.
Yep.
And, you know, there's documented from 7 foot, 15 foot tall, you know, massive beings. A lot of these sites have been excavated, you know, the mounds and everything.
Yeah.
Is everybody, you telling me all these cultures are just making stuff up and everybody's wrong?
Right.
I'm not saying everybody's right,
But
we don't know.
It seems crazy to say that everybody is wrong.
Yeah.
It seems like, again,
Everybody wants that body.
Yeah.
Everybody wants that body. And like SLOVEY said, you go out into the woods, I'm out there all the time. I have never went out and found the carcass of a bear.
And there's thousands of bears in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and that's something that we all know is there.
Yes.
It's an amazing concept.
Yes, it is.
To think that, you know, all of us here just don't know everything that's happening. Whether you can explain it with science or history, something's going on. Something's there.
Yep. The Indian word for God is, in a lot of places, is the great mystery. You know, things are mysterious, and for us to believe that we know everything seems kind of like taking things for granted.
Right.
Yeah. Alrighty. We about done?
I'm good.
Alright.
Do you do any hunting?
I do. I haven't been hunting in a couple of years, but
How often do you hunt in the woods?
2022, just about every day. Actually, I've spent a lot of time by myself hiking Appalachian Trail. I've been all over the country, checking out every spot I possibly can. I haven't been out a whole lot lately in the last couple of weeks, but right outside my house is State Game Lane 272. And I just had an encounter the other day a couple of weeks ago there. I was walking along a tree line at dusk. I didn't see anything, but I heard something scramble on the top of a tree. And And I'm thinking, oh, it's big. I'm thinking, alright, there's a bear or something around here. So I start looking, and I heard it jump, like it dropped out of the tree. A bear will slide down. A bear's gonna stay on that tree. They don't have the legs to be jumping in like a cat or something.
Yeah.
I could tell this came down from about 12 feet. Soft landing, and all of a sudden the hair on my arm stood up, and I started back. I walked backwards probably about 150 yards. Because the only thing that went through, I wasn't thinking big, I was thinking big cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people say they're not around here. They are.
Yeah.
I've seen the tracks, they're around here. It's the only thing I can think of to explain how it landed and how it moved. Because I heard some movement after it landed. There's no way it was a raccoon or a bear. You know, small animals make a lot more noise than a deer. A bear doesn't care. It's going to make all sorts of noise. So either big cat or Bigfoot. You know?
And both of them they say we don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's another thing that we embrace in CRYPTOVANIA. Like we have a video that it was taken in Franklin, and it was a hunter that has a video of 2 black cats, and it's about 4 or 5 seconds long, where that is a black cat with a long tail. But we're told they're not here. There's video evidence there that not only do we have mountain lions, but we have black ones. I've got the video. You know, when people say, where's the video, where's the body? Here it is, and here's a concrete example. Very 100%. Those are 2 black cats cavorting in the woods, but we're told they're not here. We're told that that's, you know, if anything, maybe they're passing through or something. And that just seems ridiculous. And so when those same people are telling us that Bigfoot doesn't exist, there's all these other explanations. Well, you're the same ones that tell us that the mountain lions aren't here. And so you don't have a good track record with us when it comes to that. You know, that was Tyke Bell was the guy from Franklin that took the video of the black cats. And even with that video showing 2 black cats, when you look at the comments on Facebook, there's all kinds of negative ones of all these things, or saying, why was he so shaky? You take a video of 2 black panthers in the woods and not be riled up.
Like I said,
it's fantastic.
I didn't even see what came out of the tree.
And it makes you nervous.
And I spent, like I said, my house is right there. I spent a lot of time in there. Done a lot of hunting in the area. I've never been. I used to walk home every night from work, 2 o'clock in the morning, through the middle of the woods. It doesn't bother me. That bothered me. Probably because I couldn't see it.
Yeah, but something told you that something odd, big.
Was it what they call mind speak, maybe? You know, anything like that? I don't know, but so I had to get out of there. My body said, leave.
Anything else? Alrighty. Well, thanks, man. Thank you. And that'll conclude our side of the presentation. Again, we are CRYPTOVANIA. We're a Roku channel and a Facebook group. We're a bunch of fanboys. Basically, that's what we are. These guys are true researchers. This guy here is a true researcher. We're fanboys. We enjoy it.
So I want to thank everybody for coming here. Even those that have, I mean, we've seen a lot of people coming in and out, but still, you guys are awesome.
Thank you for hosting it.
You got to get a T-shirt. What about that? You gotta get a T-shirt.
I'm kind of running out of them now.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, I want to thank you guys for coming here and listening and everything.
Thank you.
Very interesting. But please share, you know, what you experienced to other people, and also even our stuff. You know, just it's truth. It's out there, and it's legit. So, without any further ado, I just wanted to say, keep it squatchy and say it loud, buddy.
Keep it squatchy and keep it real.
That's his saying, keep it real, because you gotta keep it real, keep it open-minded. So thanks, everybody.
Thanks, man.
We'll see you next year, because we're gonna be here next year too.
And there are still plenty of donuts and cider and coffee over here. do. Okay, you don't have to.
You guys can take the donuts if you want them. Oh, you're welcome, because we're not gonna eat them all. So who are you again?
My brother Thomas.
Okay, okay. Jason talks about it religiously. And I can't keep up with them all.
Where are they going? You wanna show me? Okay, me and you will do it. Alright?
Good man, it was hard for TA.
I like your shirt, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Both Indian lovers.
I know.
Yeah. Jay's got a couple Indian tattoos.
I was gonna wear my other one, but figured since it was gonna be on video.
Did have a nice.
Yeah, that might not be a good
And
idea.
the dang thing, remember the nice one I had, that nice one? It was like that. Yeah, and then I put it in respect biting over it. And it's like,
Oh, you know what? I'm just trying to figure out how many.
I'm like, no.
I'll take two of them.
You know,
Two.
try
Where are
it.
you guys from now? Bradford?
Oh man, it's
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Hold on, man, I gotta spin it.
Yeah, so.
That's why you were here.
Yeah.
That's why you're here. You have to phone with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, if you want to come out with us sometime, we're gonna try to get a hold of time for we're gonna come out, and we're gonna go out in Area X. And that's here in Bradford, it's 50 miles away from here. And then we're gonna have some fun getting out there. Last year we had some Is that still going? You just hit it? Huh?
Good. This is Tommy Cooper and Nick Marvin.
Dude, that's Nick Shavano. The one that wanted to join us on expeditions and stuff from Jamestown.
And no one ever wants to sit in front and be on camera.
No one ever wants to sit.
Oh, Tom.
Have you, been having yourself with that? I see you on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, it honestly just started
Hey,
out.
Tommy.
We got too many, strawberries before July.
No.
We're live. He's
And I
watching
went down the line and I made that.
What else did he say? Is that awesome?
You can't have my two.
We're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to go.
Yeah, yeah. My son woke up and we all.
All right, so I'm gonna take you guys live here. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Cooper. Here we go, Tommy. You're gonna be looking at everything we have here. Here we go. Tommy. Cooper's. We got Cooper here.
Hey,
He's
Tommy.
on there. Oh my gosh. All right, so this is all of Donald SLOVEY stuff.
I did what I could get food for people in. I didn't.
Yeah, they do pretty good on the years.
Ooh, Nick Marvin too, man. Nick's on too. Oh yeah. Oh, you're gonna say something to Tommy?
What's up, Tommy?
That's cool. You want to say something to him? All right.
Just gonna go with really good.
And then we've been going to a few others.
All right, so we are closing up now. It was a great time, and we'll see you next year, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye then. Keep it squatchy.